What's up, guys? It's your boy GRC. We're live every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern, basically 2 a.m. Eastern, basically 5:30 a.m. Eastern. I'm live until there's no more news to cover, and I'm so fat and happy financially that I don't even have to deal with your little crap on Twitter. Okay? So let's get into character real quick. We're talking about ETHw, ETHf, ETHw, ETHf. We're going to talk about some of the free coins that all of the users of this Hex ecosystem, Hedron ecosystem, like Hosa, Richard Hart products, free coins. Who's got more T-shares now, Bish? Or do my T-shares not count? I don't know yet, Sam. Some T-shares count, Sam, and some don't. Some T-shares produce trustless yield and others don't, Sam. Just kidding. No, that's not true. All T-shares produce trustless yield, and the T-share rate will continue to climb, and the system will go on as usual, whether the chain has more adoption, more buys, less buys, or not. That's not the point. We have free coins. I've extracted thousands of dollars at this point in free money, and I bought back larger positions than I had anyway. And we're learning how to provide liquidity into these pools that we have more faith in. And we're going to show you directly how to do that. We're also going to start a little bit slow. We're going to show you both Twitters. We're going to show you the updates for the last day on both the ETHw and the ETHf Twitter. And then we're going to talk about our stance on some things, a little bit of community talk for 5 minutes. And then we're going to get straight into study time with Sam. Study time with Sam includes spreadsheets, and it includes numbers, and it includes how to do. So we're going to be doing a little how to do with Bullish's help and Sam's help. These guys are becoming experts quick in the liquidity providing arena because they got so much freaking cheddar on different chains. And when you got cheddar on different chains, what you start doing? So I want to unite this community. I want to unite the Hex community. It's a lot of economic mass. It's a lot of potential. Instead of doing what? Going on stream with other people that have no idea what they're talking about, that just want to be popular or whatever. But I'm so sick of watching people intellectually disgrace their family by being so stupid and then pretending like they know what they're talking about. That's the part that hurts me, Sam. I don't like when people that clearly are understudied tell people they know what they're talking about. In the fitness industry, that sucks. In every industry, that sucks. And we want more intellectual integrity, more guys working hard. Yeah, you can use the Icosa front end, Steve. So use the Icosa front end. It's the most trusted, how much good customer service does Alex from Hedron? Alex from Hedron's the best customer service in crypto. He's the best, most aggressive, most awesome, most genuine, great code, great ethos, doesn't push himself verbally onto people, but he lets his work do the talking for him. So most people that FUD Alex in any way, shape, or form generally are much less intelligent than Alex, and they have much less money. And that's the truth of the matter. So let's get into it. Crypto in the morning. Let's teach you how to provide LP. We'll do a little DEX education. We'll do a little Ethereum fork education, but we're going to do it in a detailed, slow way. So let's get to it.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some Hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some Hedron, I'm making it rain. Give me some Maxi and that's just in case. Jim ready sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning, 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 crypto in the morning.
Whoops. You're muted. And now you're gone. This is Hollywood, baby. Showtime, baby.
There we go. That's better. We're right.
Jesus.
I'm looking forward. You know how many messages that I get around LP? Because I really like LP.
Probably like 7 to 40 a day.
And we're going to put this together and show everybody how they can take their free coins and go through and provide liquidity on these other ETHf and ETHw, right? These are free coins that are sitting over there. You can take and provide liquidity, right? This is the rehearsal.
What happens when you provide liquidity, Sam?
You get money.
Wait, you earn money?
You get money.
Are you saying you can make USD value into your bank account from the free coins that you earn on other chains?
It's crazy shit happening right now.
With no KYC?
Yeah.
Wow.
Think about getting a paycheck every day.
Like it's important information or something. That's the reason I talk about it, guys. Not because it's popular. A lot of these guys that didn't get enough strokes as a kid, they're going to say whatever makes them more popular. I'm going to say whatever makes sense. Whatever there's factual data on, whatever there's written documentation on, and whatever I can get my hands on. So as far as all this, if I were you, I would stop watching all of the other crypto YouTubers other than this channel. That's why I started this channel. You know, DCC, when he's got a hot crew going on and he's in his bag, he really knows what's going on. Cultivate Crypto really knows what's going on. There's a couple guys in the Hex community that do really good work. But for the most part, everyone's trying to feed you a narrative. And you can say what you want about me. I don't give a shit. I'm going to win every day of the week, no matter what. I don't care what coins I have on whatever chain. Okay? And that's guys like me and Sam have not entered this system yet. And you're seeing our wrath right now. And this is not difficult for us. This is fun, frankly.
And if you missed out on the last couple shows, highly recommend going to watch those shows to understand what's going on with ETHw, what's going on with ETF. We also had
we'll do an update right now if Bullish is there on those two Twitters too. Right now,
yeah,
if he's there.
Yep. And we had ETH one of their developers on last night. Right, you're getting this shit here. Nobody else.
ETHw was just added to Binance.
Go search on YouTube.
Just added to Binance.
Go search on YouTube for Ethereum Fair and ETHw, and we have the content that is out there about explaining this. Nobody else is talking about this shit. We're talking about it here first. I did the first video on this about 2.5-3 weeks ago, and we've been doing update videos perpetually on this. Do you want to pull up those two those Twitter accounts? We're going to first, I think, look at POW, right? ETHw.
Well, first, I want to talk. I want to say, guys, Binance. You know when you buy stuff and you're like, where do I buy it? Where do I buy it? Binance. You ever heard of that? I think you have. I really do think you have. These guys are working, Sam. I'm freaking out because people don't understand the amount of liquidity that's over there. Ridiculous.
So explain this. No, you're good.
Sorry, I get so excited so quick. Oh my gosh, Hexler Holdings with the 829.99 ZAR. Thanks for helping out my onboards when I've been away. Always send them here. Updates in alpha. Dude, that's the exact perfect super chat and tweet that you could say to me. That's exactly my mission. That's exactly why I'm here. And you'll understand soon that none of the Twitter stuff affects me, guys, because I have a mission. I want to make the world a better place. I think I can help.
This is from Hexler Holdings. That's from South Africa. So ZAR is, I believe, South African currency. So what's Gucci from the US, bro? Thanks for the support.
And I want to know what's going on with your Hexler Holdings one time. You should DM me so I can be reminded. Okay. ETHPOW, the original Ethereum powered by POW, while Ethereum Foundation insists on the POS fork. Okay, so let's scroll down a little bit. All right, so there's a tutorial, guys. So maybe if you wanted to stop asking me what the RPC settings are, you could just click that button.
Did we share this in the chat? Let's share this in the chat so people can
Yeah. So scroll down more. I want to see this Binance news. Okay, here we go. Looks like a one-way convert looks like a one-way convert. What's the purpose? Anyone can shed some light. Binance adds ETHw. Click on that Binance link too. Wow. Binance convert adds ETHw. Wow, maybe they see potential here, guys. This is big. This is really, really big.
And Ether Fair is also going to be getting Binance support soon too.
So
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy snap, guys. Oh, get in when there's no
explain
liquidity
that.
and people can't trade. That's all I'm saying. The best time to be a buyer, Sam, in general, for a lot of these newer guys, is when no one can access the chain, when no one can trade a lot of dollars, because how much you can buy a decent amount, $1,000, $500, but you can't really sell that much confidently unless there's a bit of a pump anyway. So that's going to hold users back. And then, yes, the dumpers will always be there, but the USD value is so close to zero that it doesn't make that much of a difference, although it does. But now we're talking about adding. Binance has more volume than any other chain that I've ever seen in my life.
Globally.
I don't even care what the numbers are because I can smell it.
And now you have the largest centralized exchange in the planet by multiple X's, right? Like it's multiple X's bigger than Coinbase, right? Everybody here talks about Coinbase. Binance is way bigger. And they just added support for ETHw. What does that mean? Fresh money coming in. What happens to this community? Because we were dominating on day one. If you looked at the DEX screener, we were dominating. We bought shit when it was pennies, fractions of pennies on the dollar. Now we're going to have fresh money pouring into these things, right? This is going to, like GRC was saying, you get something that's a fraction of a penny and there's really no downside, right? It's a fraction of a penny. That can have 100x, 1,000x.
But not even the fraction of the penny part. It's the zero liquidity part. Yes, you could be a fraction of a penny and have a lot of liquidity, but at the same time, we know the token distribution and we know the distribution methods generally in Hex. And the amount of people that can really stake Hex for 1 week or 2 weeks and make more than 99.9% of the people in the system truthfully must have been diluted at some point. Like, that's not why Hex was invented. Hex was not invented to be front ran and 15-year. Probably, I'm assuming it was more to be stable. So I think it's really interesting, and I think that Hex can work better if there is more dilution. Because to be honest, the reason some smart guys like me don't buy Hex is because a bunch of dumb fucks have all of it, and they sit in there and cry about their feelings all day on Twitter. It's ridiculous, really. And I don't want my asset to be based on that so much, but I still love the asset and I love producing yield. And this gives me a way while they're fighting and crying and moaning, I can get in and get some T-shares that in a world that I knew layer one wars was coming. We already knew this was happening. Richard literally said, I'm going to do this. And that's what we've been studying for the last year. And someone else did the exact same thing. And you guys can't read between the fucking lines. Okay. Sam Stolt has created an amazing day in his shot. Oh yeah. Wow. I didn't notice that. That's dope. In the same location in his shot, GRC has cream.
What's up with that, bro? You got some tissue over there too?
Dude, that stuff, if you rub that stuff into your legs, on your arms, on your chest, dude, you feel like $1 million. And on anywhere, I'm sure. Okay. ETF just blocked it from their official. No, I'm kidding. And I've been in contact. I think this is important to note while we're here. I have been in direct contact with the founders of the ETF Fair official, with the guys that are providing all of this to the world, the guys that are distributing this, the guys that are planning this, the guys that are putting money behind this. They are talking to me and calling me one-on-one and doing things like that. Guys, I'm not here to hate on anyone, but Richard has completely told everyone, basically, I don't give a fuck what you have to say, period. And that's okay. You can do that, Sam. You're allowed to do that because Richard, frankly, thinks he punches hard enough where it doesn't matter, and he could be right. But at the end of the day, layer ones need support. The people that are building these projects need support, Richard. They need your support. It's not about your ego. It's about supporting them. This will work. And I'm saying this because I know Richard needs somebody to let him not use his phone. And he needs to be organized. He needs to be like these guys are, professional, because truthfully, yes, we'll all make money, but do you want adoption for everyone, or do you just want adoption for the guys that believe you right now? That's my take on that, Sam. What do you think about that? But I don't have expectation. And first of all, I'm one of the biggest Richard Hart fans on the fucking internet. And I preach his good word to everyone that I see. And I tell everyone I think Richard Hart is trying to make the world a better place. Just because he's not perfect doesn't mean anything about what I think about him. I'm not a maxi. Like, I'm not going to buy all the stuff he tells you to buy all the time, because that's not his role anymore, is not to be the free educator he was. He's now supporting a product. So he can't really talk like he used to.
So how I'm thinking about this is and there was a little bit of inside information I'm going to share at the end of this, but so I have a company, right? And I'm in the process of looking for and setting up a distribution center in Europe somewhere, right? Whether that's in the EU or in the UK or something along those lines. And if I were to set that up, right, or somebody were to set that up over there, would I want my brand to do shitty over there? Just a simple question. You don't have to be a genius to figure this out. So when we have forks and you have the code, the brand that is Hex on these other chains, do you think for a moment that the person who is behind it, the person who owns 90% of the supply, is going to want those things to do shitty? No. You know how you can grow things faster? You know how you can accelerate tremendously? Collaboration, working with other people, right? And these other networks, they need people and they need adoption.
And he is going about it a different way. And he kind of admits that. He's doing a Netflix movie. He's going that way. He's doing that route. That's his play. And that could be the best play in the world. But you need to communicate with the guys that are building layer ones on your chain, because that's important. It's important as a human. It's important for, yes, I thought it was all fun and games when none of this stuff was out, because it really was. It was like, and no one's doing anything. We're in the bear market. Everyone chill. But then some men make plays, and then other men make plays. And then the guys that are building on the same exact technology that's going on this could be helping these guys, launching things like this, learning, growing. And Richard Hart preaches that he wants to make the world a better place, not that he wants to be rich. He says he's already rich. I want to make the world a better place, and I'm not even rich, Richard. So really, I don't have to go around, and I can go in sports cars and do whatever I want and fuck girls that probably wouldn't even fuck him. So it's not about any of that. This is about technology. And if Richard wants to retire and like have a publicist and just do all that stuff, he probably could. And all he would have to do is tell his peoples, Sam, you know about this for your supplement company and stuff. Just tell your peoples to do it at some point, because you make enough money where you don't want to do it anymore. But you can't go solo and then not do anything. And that's my only opinion on it. And I'm saying not about launching. I'm just saying communication is key. If he did a 3-hour live stream and answered all of our questions about these chains, yeah, the world would go bananas, but we could get the truth out if he's going to spit the truth. I need the truth, Richard. I don't know everything. All I can do is cover what I think, and you're smarter than me. So why don't you help me? Help me, Richard. I will help you. I will distribute whatever good, kind, moral, prudent words you want me to this world, because I trust you. I believe in him.
I don't think he actually knows. And instead of like confronting it and talking about it, I think he's sitting on the sidelines personally. Right. I'm going to go fucking spend.
That's what I assume too but people don't.
I agree with you 1,000%. I think that this is the opportunity to grow your brand, whether it's RH or Hex or Pulse. The community's energy in crypto, not just in this community, I mean, in crypto in general, the energy in crypto right now is high. There's a massive interest to learn and curiosity to understand what is taking place. And if an authority, right, like some people think of it as authority, right, if he decides to come out and start answering questions and giving opinions, even if it's, I don't know what's going to happen, right? And you do that for a couple hours a day, do you know how much more impactful that's going to be at growing your brand? Because you're taking advantage of what's taking place in crypto instead of sitting on your thumbs buying, ugly clothes, right? It's like,
and some of us are wrecked. And I'm not talking about me as like an individual or an entity. Like, yeah, clearly I have some good work ethic. I can work. Like I could F everything up too, but that's not the point. Some of us are trying to make it, Richard. And if you know, and it's not about making it with his coins or that coin or this coin, but Richard for years and years and years preached that he wanted to make the world a better place, period, end of story. He did it for years on end. He wrote a self-help book. If that's true, Richard, if all this stuff is true, I think it's important that you behind the scenes communicate with me and with the devs of the guys that are doing this stuff. I've put your good name into the ether for 1,000 days straight and told everyone, and I still will continue to do that. I want to react to some of your videos later because I love your old information. But, you know, I think more organization would be helpful.
An opportunity that is pretty clear, right? I think was what you're highlighting. We've talked to somebody else behind the scenes the other day. There's a lack of communication between, you know, the marketplace and what he's doing, but there's also a lack of communication between the marketplace of developers and what is going on in Pulse. If I'm building something, I tell everybody I'm building something and you can build on this thing. And then I just don't answer questions and I don't open communication channels with you. Do you think it's going to be more challenging for you to build shit on whatever I'm building, right? Like if I'm creating a city and GRC wants to build a house in my city and I say, hey, I'm building a city here, right? And I don't give you any information and I just shut the fuck up and I cut off all lines of communication. You think it's going to be more challenging? Right? If you want to foster a community, if you want to foster the biggest thing, right, and grow it to like unfathomable from what most people could comprehend gains, then the communication is tremendously important. Plus, you missed the boat. Fucking shit's already launched. There's 2 forks. There's 2 free airdrops.
Well, it's just the cross messaging that I have a problem with. Richard Hart's here to protect the user. Richard Hart here to protect the little guy. Richard Hart is here to make the world a better place. And that's, I don't care. And the whole thing is everyone's going to say you can't have expectations. I don't have expectations of Richard. I could give a shit. I'm trying to help the man.
Correct.
I could give 2 rats shits what happens to any of this stuff you guys are all over leveraged in. You're the ones who care. That's why your thinking is ass backwards. That's why I like Richard Hart. I do more for Richard Hart than you do. Every time, every day of the week, every moment of the day. Because I am a team player and I know what's going on here and I want to make the world a better place too. I don't care about the money. If you told me I had 0 Pulse chain sacrifice and Pulse X sacrifice, I'd say, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. You don't know what goes on anyway. You don't know how to buy the shit at the bottom anyway. I could buy the whole thing back for $5,000. Okay. That's not the point. The point is, why can they communicate on ETHw and ETHf and all this stuff? Richard has the best devs, I thought. Richard pays the most for his devs. Richard has the best everything, I thought, Sam. So why? That's all I'm saying is like, if you have the best of everything, why can't you communicate the best? Why can't
and to go with what you're saying, because I saw somebody else say something about you can't expect profit from the work of others. To think that is what anybody is doing. If GRC and myself are doing something and we're working together and he's dropping the ball or I'm dropping the ball, I fully expect GRC to fucking say something to me because I want to be better. And I know that he knows that I am expecting to be better.
I care for Richard Hart deeply.
And the only way you're going to do that is by calling out shit when you see it. Hey, bro, there's a big opportunity here. Communication sucks balls. Do something about it. Period.
Yeah, I've struggled with communication my whole life, guys. While I've dominated some aspects of my life completely with no resources, there's aspects of this world that Richard Hart, you know, when it comes to dating and hitting up with girls, I guess, he acts like it's the first time he's ever freaking hung out with a chick. And I was doing that shit broke as fuck at 17 with girls that wouldn't even look in his direction. So it's not, and I'm just trying to be a straight shooter by telling people I have skills too. I'm not a billionaire, but I don't need to be a billionaire. I don't need to have this is about working together to make the world a better place. And the technology will not care about your feelings, Sam. Will it? When does that? And there's a part of that is on the favor of Richard too, because he does create immutable technology. Like, so it kind of does last. But Richard knows all this stuff. Richard would agree with me if we were all talking to him. Richard would probably say, I don't have enough hours in the day and I'm kind of lazy about it with that shit. That's what he would probably say. But he also probably has things that I don't know about that he does that are fucking awesome. You know, like, so it's not about Richard, but this is what I've supported for 200 days straight. I'm actually passionate. I'm actually honest. I'm actually transparent. And none of you guys are. All of you guys hide behind whatever. And that's okay. That's not everyone's role to be like face to face with this stuff. But guys, I'm face to face with this shit every day. It's clear that my bias is less than yours because I don't give a shit.
And it's
And you taught me about communication, Sam, and I frankly sucked at it.
it's cool to watch you grow and watch. I acknowledge you for that, dude, because it's awesome. And I'm growing through the process too. Like the only thing I'm focused on is growing. And it's fun to see you grow in your communication and your ability to present ideas and everything, organization, just all the areas that I've seen you grow in. So this is awesome. And both communication with the channel, but communication interpersonal and other stuff. Let's move into LP.
Much. Yeah, I know. I didn't want to go too much on a tangent, but I'm really passionate about this stuff, guys. This is my whole life now. I quit my job and decided to cover this full time. You think I'm going to wait around for 3 years to cover some news when Binance is putting ETF on that I was buying for virtually zero? You know, with zero liquidity, with zero on Hex. I know what Richard Hartz is going to say. I'm not going to speak for him, but I know what he's going to say already because I actually study. I actually pay attention. The other guys that defer to Richard and they tell you, oh, let's wait for Richard to make a call on this because I'm such a pussy that I can't think for myself. It's like, no, bro, the information's out there. If you've studied Richard's work hard enough, you should know what he's going to say already. That's a relationship. That's what it is. So we're moving on. LP, guys. I want to teach you guys about DEXs, why they're important, what happens when you fork these different Ethereum chains, how does that work as far as compatibility? How do they become compatible? Because we were watching in full time. You know what I mean? We were watching in full time, like Icosa app get launched. All these things get launched on there. So, let's talk about compatibility, safety, and then let's talk about how to actually make money with free coins that you got just for being a part of Ethereum on that chain, providing liquidity between assets that already have a little bit of liquidity in them. You can earn fees on money that you did not have. This is all very important, guys. So whatever you think that I'm thinking about, nope, I'm just trying to teach people about what's going good. GRC and Sam, did you watch the Whales and Kareem stream last night? They are big brains just like yours and understand how big of an opportunity this is. Oh, I could imagine they do because they actually want this to work out and they actually want this to scale. And so wouldn't it only make sense? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Oh, wait, but you have too many T-shirts and you spent too much money. That's okay. There's leverage. That's one of my major first before anything. You don't over leverage because you need to be able to lose it.
We're going to see, we're just ahead of everybody else, guys. That's all. So we're going to see larger players getting involved and you're going to start to see some really big moves happen. Oh, you can say you heard it here first, right? Like we're just way ahead of everybody else. That's all. So you're going to see this stuff starting to play out. Like mark my words, it is going to happen. And we're just being critical of the people because if they move faster, it's a bigger opportunity. But if they wait longer, it's a smaller opportunity, right? That's all. These bigger players are getting involved and you're going to hear more about it as this happens, right? As this happens, we've been watching liquidity grow in ETHw. I haven't checked the numbers today.
Oh, so right here we have a friend of ours named Kareem. He's a day one hexagon, a day one educator, a real educator. And I'm not saying he doesn't have incentive financially to say whatever. I'm not saying that. That man teaches you how a T-share works faster than any other person on this planet and can work through some of these concepts. And he's on the feet in Vegas and Miami, onboarding real people at nightclubs like every weekend. Like that's called punching hard and being a beast. Kareem is a absolute beast. Anyone who's talking shit about him probably has less money and less good times and less positive vibes and less connections because I tell you, I saw that guy in Vegas. We talked for days straight. He's the real deal. And now he's buying up Hex on ETHw like a madman, I hear in the chat. That I like.
I'm also just checking Dex Screener right now. The liquidity on POW is. I'm only looking at the first couple ones here because I'm not going to take the time live on the stream here, but it is drastically.
If you want to pull it up while we explain what a DEX is, go ahead.
Okay, so let's
Well,
first
let's
get
just
in.
explain what a DEX is. Let's just explain what a DEX is. Let's not confuse them with the numbers yet because they'll just get confused. So, Sam, remember when I got you
First, right here, if you guys have questions, we will leave hashtag question. We'll star it and we'll get to the questions at the end. So if you have a question around LP and this stuff, put hashtag question. We'll remind you in a minute. We'll get to that in the last like 15, 10 minutes of the show and do kind of like a rapid fire to get through those. Sorry to interrupt, GSR. Go ahead.
new name is the God Rat. I agree. I should switch that. So,
What is a DEX?
a DEX, Sam, when I came to you within, that was probably 300 days ago now, and I started talking to you about Hex and the T-shares, and I was like, dude, I don't really know everything, but like I'm bullish as fuck because like this stuff moves quick, and you can capture whatever I was saying at the time, and you said okay. Then about 100 days later, you start providing liquidity with some of these assets that you've gotten online. What has your experience been like as someone who's invested in many of things with many of middlemen? So what is the technology of Hex? I mean, a Uniswap, a DEX, decentralized exchange. There's centralized. We're not talking about that at this moment. And we're talking about that decentralized exchange, Uniswap, in this particular conversation.
That's a nice setup there. Thank you. So if you guys think of Robinhood or Cash App or E-Trade or Charles Schwab or et cetera, these are brokerages effectively where you can buy stock, right? And then you can swap that stock for something else, or trade, right? Is the common nomenclature used in brokerages. But what happens when you trade in Robinhood? You have Apple and now you switch to Tesla. Well, Robinhood makes the money from you trading. What happens in Webull? Webull makes the money from you trading. E-Trade, Charles Schwab, etc. They all make the money from you, right? Making these trades. But what if there was another way? Well, the DEX, because some people in the community literally haven't used a DEX yet, which is no hate, like it's cool. So that's why we're starting here and then we're going to work our way through this. Well, with a DEX, you can actually make the money from other people. So instead of it going to whoever is in charge, like E-Trade, Binance, Coinbase, right? And they make the money from you trading. You can actually be a part of the system. And when somebody swaps from asset A to asset B, you earn that fee. It's pretty simple. So this is the most common way people provide liquidity. With this formula, this is how Uniswap does it. X times Y equals K. There's a constant product. There's a constant sum. There's several different formulas you can use. Like Curve uses a slightly different formula so that it is better for there's the curve touches the line where it's tangent, basically where it sits there longer so that you get a better trading for stable coins. That's how that formula works. But this one here is what we're going to be talking about because this is Uniswap, right? The largest one. So let's do this. X and Y tokens, right? You could say this is Hex and ETH. You could say this is Hex and USDC. You could say this is Hedron and Hex, ICOSA. It doesn't even matter. 100,000 Hex and 100,000 ICOSA, right? Or whatever the case is. Now do this formula, right? So this is X and this is Y. You multiply these two together, and that comes out to this. So this is what is that? 10 billion here. This is the formula here. Now, somebody trades X for Y. What happens? Well, we're going to show you how this impacts prices and also where the fees are coming from. Then we're going to get into ETHw and show you how to do this because there's already V3 front ends for both of these exchange for ETHw and ETHw. So if somebody trades 1X for Y, right, then you have more X in this pool, right? And you have one less Y in this pool. So if somebody changes, and the reason we're going to go through this is because this is exactly how impermanent loss, right, happens. So say instead of 1, we're going to do 10,000. Well, check out the prices here, right? The one I'm selling, X, drops in price, just like in the real world. It's funny, right? The price of the one I'm buying goes up in price, just like in the real world, right? And the amount in the pool changes. So let's do 75,000, right? Well, look at this. This is what people mean by impermanent loss. So watch this. Somebody came in, they took 75,000 X tokens, and they bought Y tokens. This could be Hex USDC. It could be anything. Hex right here goes up in the pool, right? In this one person's position in that pool, because they have just added 75,000 to the pool. Y goes down by 75,000 because that's what they purchased. Look at the price differences. Up here, they're trading 1 for 1. Down here, it is completely different. This is how this is very limited liquidity. If we add another 0 here, if we add another 0 here, the price impact is not as much. Remember, this was at 14 cents and now it's at 86 cents. And this was at $7 and now it's at $1. Still a price impact, but this is how liquidity impacts prices, right? This is why limited liquidity is so important, right? When we added more liquidity here, the price impact is massively different. Well, let's go back again, right? This case here, 75,000 of these X tokens drives the price from 1 to 1, right? Because this equal numbers, 100,000 X, 100,000 Y. It's a 1 for 1 trade. I trade 1 X. Look at, I trade 1 for 1. It's still $1, right? But when we go to 75,000, limited liquidity, ETH, ETHw, very, very limited liquidity. Look at the differential in prices, right?
Richard mentioned limited liquidity lots and lots and lots of times in his old videos 5 or 6 years ago, because that's how he made all his money. He made all his money buying assets that had no liquidity, that people didn't know how to trade yet on chains that people had no clue about. That's exactly what he taught me how to be sharp at looking for. And then he said Hex presents that in a really awesome way, especially early on, but things do gain volume over time. So that's why staking is so critical. But Richard couldn't have told you there was going to be 4 layer 1s 4 years ago. That just didn't exist in the brain yet for anyone. You know, maybe it was the infancy of that. But now we have proof of stake and proof of work, each forks. And we have, you know, Pulse Chain coming out, which a lot of us have USD value already locked in. So if that USD value is locked in, that means, oh, I get a piece of that pie no matter what. I'm good over here for now on these new chains with speculative buys or providing liquidity with the money I already have over there that I can't sell anyway if you have enough. So why don't you guys start using your brains just like Richard does?
This guy, Crypto Gains Club seems to think that we rely on RH, bro. Like,
I've never relied on RH. I just watched all his content that he put on.
No. He's talking to me. He's talking to me. He's not talking to you guys. He's talking to me. We're just having a conversation.
I'm a huge RH fan. I'm a huge RH fan. I think RH is one of the smartest dudes in the space. Top 3 for sure. Top 2 probably.
And just for you guys know, like main Gains Club, this is when we catch up, like usually in the chat. So usually it's not geared towards you guys, but you know, Jim Rat, you know, pays attention to it. That's why I tell you.
I don't pay attention to it. I just see stupid shit come up all the time, so I'm like, ugh.
So let's move on. Let's move on to the next piece before we go on a tangent on this. So I hope.
So we talked about a DEX now, and we talked about LP. So this is what it looks like on the front end, guys. So a front end is the website portion of it. So for the guys that are new, like I was 300 days ago, I didn't even really understand a lot of these decentralized applications as anything different of a website. And really the truth is they are no different than a website. You just have to connect your dApp to it. So don't think this is confusing, guys. This is a website, just like YouTube, just like everything, but you can press connect wallet on these websites. That's the only difference. So now we're at the Uniswap front end where you can provide liquidity, swap, pool, vote, and more. But generally, this is used from the average user to swap from token to token. But what do guys that are not average users do? They use their brains. So what they do is they start thinking, I have so much money in these assets now. How do we earn fees on such a thing? How can I have some of the stability of some of these tokens without a lot of the volatility risk, because I hold 2 of them anyway, and I have such a large amount of money. And when I say such a large amount of money, I say $30,000 to $50,000 USD evaluation is like way more than enough to earn like redonko fees on any of this stuff because it's so new. So what do we got, Sam?
So this DEX is, I shared it in the chat. This is the front end on Ethereum Fair. So this is not uniswap.org, right? This is uniswap.etherfair.org. I just shared it in the chat. This is just the front end for Uniswap on Ethereum Fair. Now, I'm pulling up the swap feature because if somebody wanted to provide liquidity and they just had, say, Hex in their wallet, or they just have a little bit of Ethereum in their wallet like we do here, right? You could go through and swap this to provide liquidity. So say if I wanted to take, if I have mostly Hex in my wallet and I need some Ethereum, well, then I would just go through and take some Hex and I would swap this for ETH here, right? So you allow this to, because there's literally some people have never used a DEX before. So we're just going to go through very, very simple here. I'm confirming that they have Uniswap can use Hex in my wallet, right? That's going to take a second for this to actually go through. We would assume that I'm just purchasing some so that I can provide liquidity. And when I say purchasing some, this is like free money, right? So you can use your wallet and go look, not your wallet on one side, but the other side. So that just went through, right? So now I have some of each, right? We got 10 Ethereum F, and we have about 100,000 Hex. So we go over to pool. We're going to click new position. And you can do this with free money. So if you're like, oh, Pulse X is going to be dope. Pulse X, I can provide liquidity. Well, go practice. This is
practice on safe accounts if you're a noob. If you're a total noob, dude, like you need to know that people are going to pop stuff up on your computer to make you click things. Like it happens on occasion and you have to be prepared for that. And when you're a little more advanced, it doesn't really phase you so much because you notice the little nuances in all the pop-ups. You're like, I ain't clicking on that. I ain't clicking on that.
Yeah, can I add some clarification? And I'm gonna lean on Crypto Gains Club to correct me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. But yes, we're telling people do not connect your sacrifice wallets and stuff like that. It's okay to connect to it. Just don't use it as your main thing. If you want, connect to it, move your free copy to a new wallet, and then just engage with the new wallet that you.
But I have so much USD value in my stake that I'm scared.
You're not gonna get your shit rinsed by connecting an RPC setting into your MetaMask.
No.
Correct. Thank you, Bullish. And so what Bullish was saying, if you're not sure what we just did, right? So this is just a dummy wallet that I created 6 minutes before I got onto here, right? So what you can do, you have Ethereum mainnet, you have funds there, and at the merge, now you have free money on both of these other networks. So what do you have to do? If you want to access them and you're paranoid and you're scared, right, and you don't know, right? First of all, this is a learning experience. This is the rehearsal before the wedding, right? This is an opportunity to learn, and there's potential for massive like X's here. Now, you can go punch in RPC settings, load whatever you had in your wallet into this new RPC. So RPC settings, like GRC touched on this at the beginning, check Twitter for POW. They have it pinned to their tweet. There's a Medium post. Follow that, right? I did a post on my tweet. Go do that. GRC's probably talked about it. Bullish has probably talked about it. You go to MetaMask, scroll down from the top where it says networks, add network, fill in that section there. Now you're going to be on the other network. You add in whatever tokens you have. So say if you had Hex, now you're going to go through and look at the contract address for Hex. Where do you find a contract address for Hex? Go to Etherscan. It's the same contract address. It doesn't change just because the network changed. The contract is the contract. So you go to Etherscan, search Hex. It will come up. I should probably just pull this up real quick to show people what we're doing and not get too far ahead of people so that they can actually follow along. So what I'm going to do is go to Etherscan, right? I've already put in the RPC settings. I come over here, I search for Hex. Now, when this comes up, you get to see this over here. Whenever this loads, this is the contract address. So I press copy contract address. Now, say, not thinking of a swap that I could use. Let's use Cow Swap. I don't think it's up on there, right? So I would come over to Cow Swap and I would come down in here because I've already added it everywhere else. I'd come here, I'd press manage tokens. This is going to be the same type of setup for the Uniswap that we're just showing, but I've already added it. So come over here, right? Follow along. You're like this. You press here, come down to the bottom, manage tokens, you have lists and tokens. So we're going to come over here. We're going to paste that there, right? Hex is already active. So I guess I already did it on this site, but you would say import right here. You'd press import. Now, when you come here, you'll be able to actually search for it because otherwise it might not come up, especially with Hedron. Hex may or may not come up, right? So once you've done this, now you add your RPC settings. You've added the tokens. You get to see your balances on this other network. Now you can create another wallet, another seed phrase, one of dummy ones with MetaMask, whatever you want to do, another one in Treasure, another with Ledger. You pick. Now you have this dummy wallet and you have your main wallet. Get into any token. Let me see if I can pull up MetaMask.
Real quick, while he's doing that, guys, smash the like. We got 58 likes in here, 164 viewers. If you're not smashing that like to 100, come on. Are you serious? I'm putting my ass on the line for the last week for you guys. Smash the like, send some super chats, show me your support, do all the things that the YouTube front end lets you do to support me if you feel so entitled. But make sure you're following us on Twitter and following us on YouTube, Instagram, everything, TikTok, Facebook. Follow us. Follow us on everything. We're going to be doing this. I can guarantee you like 2 years straight of this. I can't guarantee anything past that, but I could probably guarantee, just knowing myself, at least 2 years, and it could be 20. You know what I mean? It could be 20. And without a blink, I'm 28 years old, guys. Like, I got no issue. I thought I was going to have to be smashing a hammer against a metal wall my entire life. So this is way doper and way more fun and way cooler and way more interesting and frankly more profitable.
So
hit the likes, guys. Make sure you smash the like. Support me. Post this link everywhere. I'll post it below. Sam, let's get back to it.
So we've added RPC settings. Now we're looking at your address on Ethereum mainnet is exactly the same as your address on Ethereum Fair or Ethereum W. Now you've done that, right? You're like, oh, I did that. Good job. Give yourself a high five, right? On the side of your face. Now, next thing you do, go through and create a dummy wallet, a new seed phrase. Okay, perfect. Now I shared my whole entire screen so you guys can see this. You're going to click in MetaMask. You've probably done this before. You're going to click on your asset. You're going to click send, right? You're going to put in your new wallet address up here, right? I don't have a new wallet address to put in here, but you're going to put that in here. Then it's going to say you're going to transfer that. So you're going to transfer this from your say if this was my main address here, right? E261. I would take this address on the new account. I'd come down here and I'd paste that right there, right? It's just the same account, so it's not going to work, right? It would come up like this, and I'd say max, and I'd transfer all of this to a brand new account, one account that I just created, so that I can go over to uniswap.etherfair.org. Now, you're not using your same address, right? You've loaded your RPC settings, you've imported the tokens, you've sent those, you've created a new address. Now you've sent all your tokens to the new address, right? That one's done. Leave that alone. Onto the new address. You take the new address with the tokens you just sent there, and you can go to uniswap.etherfair.org. You're going to click on pool, right? You may have to swap if you only have one token, you may have to do a swap. So if you have 10 ETH and no hex, then you'd obviously come in here and you'd buy some hex, right? You go to pools, click new position, come in here. We're going to click hex. Right? This is all with your free money. You could take your free money and earn fees. You could take your free money, take your fees out, and transfer them to your bank account. Like GRC was saying, ETHw is already added to Binance, the largest exchange in the world. So you can pull your fees out and send them over there. Now, these are the options you're going to have here. It doesn't necessarily mean 1% fee group is going to be better than 0.3% fee group. Because if you look, most of the volume, at least on mainnet, is happening in the 0.3% group. So if you do the 1% group and there's no volume, even though you earn a higher percentage, if nobody shows up, who cares? That means you're not going to earn as much fees. So we're going to select this group here.
And you can milk fees when you're really smart for like no volume fees. So when you know there's a trading pair that has the same exact real inherent value, like Maxi and Hex or something, once it finds a peg, you can just kind of milk that because every trade between the two, it goes to you because no one's providing LP. So there is some game theory to that as well.
And there's a lot more to this that we'll probably cover in future videos. Like if you want to,
But we need to
strategies
teach
and
this
stuff.
shit. This is huge. This is big. This is how you get smart at this, guys. Literally, because the reason all those other YouTubers and Hexicans don't tell you things that make any goddamn sense is because they don't understand why the price moves specifically, directly to the core, to the exact digit. It's not hard to do in DeFi because everything's on paper. Sam is good on paper. He's not even the best, but here he looks like God mode, fucking Jesus mode, fucking. He can pull a spreadsheet out. Huh?
Sorry, do less. You got to make sure you have a little bit left for gas.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's important because that's annoying as shit when you have to go back to a centralized exchange to send yourself gas when you do your last 10.
Just do 9 ETF. That should be enough.
One thing here, yeah, and I agree. So what Bullish is pointing out, right? So they do it automatically. So thank you for bringing this up. They'll do it automatically. They'll subtract enough for gas and a little bit extra. See how this is 0.989, right? They do, but I actually have 0.9999, right? So they will subtract some out, but great point. So if you want to have more because you're going to do other transactions, then you could just do 9, right? This will give you that extra in there. Now, if you say you want to go to the full range, this means you're going to earn less fees and you're providing liquidity over the entire range of possible prices.
And who would do this more, Sam? Who would be more inclined? In what position would you have to be more inclined to have a bigger position with a bigger bandwidth?
At the brand new, at the very beginning, I think it probably makes sense to do.
What about at the very end? Does it make any sense?
If you have a shitload of money and you don't want to pay attention to it and you just want to earn fees, this is one way to do that, right? You just like, I'm going to be not even paying attention to the computer for 6 months, but I still want my money to work for me and I want it to earn more money than it would have otherwise if I put it into 2 stable coins and provided liquidity. This is an opportunity to take that large amount and earn greater fees by doing something like this. This is the full range. Think of a full range versus a concentrated position as, you know, those like dummy boxing gloves that you get at carnivals and stuff where it's just mammoth and I could hit you with that and it's not going to hurt, right? Because there's so much padding on the front of the glove that you're like hitting somebody and you're actually like a foot away from them because there's so much padding on that boxing glove. That's like a full range versus if I take that glove off and I punch, that's what concentrated liquidity is. The bang for the buck is much greater. You're gonna feel that, right? But if you have that giant padding glove on there, you're gonna know that somebody hits you, but it's not really gonna hurt. So you can think of the hurtness as the amount of fees you're earning, right? You're not gonna earn a lot of fees if you wear that glove, but you don't have to do anything. It just sits there and you just earn fees. Now, if you would like,
guys, please do not tear up all the chat rooms with ETHw and ETHf just spamming hex shit. It's really counter beneficial to everyone. Do not, please just be normal, happy person and talk logical.
Yes, please. And I'm just going to add to, just because we're dominating their blockchains does not mean we deserve special treatment when we go into their chats. Just like every other Telegram chat where they don't want you talking about other coins, you shouldn't be in there shilling hex. And if you want a hint, if you want to do it smart, do it in a way like you're doing third person. So like the way I do it is, yeah, I'm a Hexican. The bot doesn't pick it up as hex. So I'm not shilling anything. I'm just telling the room. And from there, I get DMs. What is hex? What is this? What is that?
Thank you, both of you guys. This is great. If you're trying to, Bullish and I talked about this when we first all connected. The best way to like open up that channel of communication is by providing value, right? If you want somebody to give a shit about your like fucking hacks, right? That's what you're thinking. They're not going to unless you're helping. You're providing value. Be interested in what they're doing. Be interested in what they're like trying to accomplish.
And they don't care if everyone gets rich right away, guys. You move like such broke plebs. Everyone in the hex community moves like they're broke street
Don't group them up. They get sensitive.
No, but you know what I mean, though. Like, it's like, why? Like, these guys are trying to change the world, not flip $1,000 or 100,000 or even $1 million. They could do that every day in their sleep. It's like saying, why didn't Richard Hart come out with the centralized exchange? You think he couldn't have? You don't think Richard Hart could come out with the centralized exchange to wreck all of you guys? Yes, he could. These guys are trying to help and at least do something positive. At least do something that works. That's what this is all about. We're just teaching the guys that are new how to earn money with the tools that they've provided.
Thank you. Yeah. So to get back into this band that I'm adjusting, this is the range, right? So this is going to give my limited amount of funds, right? These free tokens you're getting more bang for the buck. So you earn higher fees, right? And so I decided to provide liquidity between 1,104 hex per ETH. Remember, this is what throws a lot of people off because they're thinking dollar amounts. It's always as a ratio to the other token that you're providing liquidity with. So I'm providing liquidity in this range, 1,104 hex per ETH to the upper side, 1,805 hex per ETH, right? The current price is right here, 1,461 hex per ETH. Now, this 1461 is going to go, think of like going back and forth in the middle of this range right here. If this goes back and forth in this range, I'm earning fees, right? As soon as this goes outside of here, you guys can hopefully see this. My thing's being a little wonky right now, but as soon as the gray line goes outside, I am not earning fees anymore. It's outside here. I don't earn any fees. Now, see this, right? This single line here, I have them both next to each other. You may have heard people in the community say that the best way to enter or exit a position without hurting yourself, without hurting the price, and having no slippage, as well as earning fees, is a range order. So if somebody wants to provide a range order, right? This is not possible in Legacy. This is why Uniswap V3 is so cool. PulseX does not have this, by the way. Hopefully they will incorporate this at some point, but they don't have this. To get out of a position right here where it was a second ago, this means I put in all of one asset. So you can go through and you can provide all of one asset. And then when the gray line slides through here, you switch from all of one asset. And then by the time this goes through and gets to the other side, now you are all in the other asset. And that's effectively what a range order is. But that's a little bit more into it. Let's just go through and provide liquidity. So we're just going to pick this range. We're going to approve hex here. MetaMask is coming up on the side here. Hey, if you guys are getting value out of this, make sure you press the like button and share this with somebody else, right, in the hex community, so that you can go through, take your free coins, do the rehearsal, so that when it comes out, you're ready to go. So this is going through. Now it's going to say preview. Again, it's just giving you an idea of what you're doing. I'm providing, and it's not, a lot of people think it's 50-50. I'm going to provide 50% hex and 50% ETH. That's not the case.
That's rarely how it goes, because generally someone's one-sided on one of those assets.
Yes.
And if I'm going to have let's say I'm a kind of guy that likes to have 100 ETH in my bag at all times. There's a lot of guys that do that just because they like to have assets that probably won't go to zero. You know what I mean? So basically, even in this world, like if you have 60 Ethereum rather than 100, like, are you wrecked? Like if you have 100 million hex rather than 95 million hex, are you wrecked? No. So you could just like use those two assets that you're not already wrecked in and already made $1 million in to just earn your daily living instead of working 24/7 every single day. Sam, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, and this is fucked. This is wrong to say, and I'm going to say it, but like in 2022, if you are complaining about how much you work, you're just a wrecked pleb. Like, because all you have to do is go to your computer and study, and like you can take care of the family and like all of their fucking ancestors for the rest of your life for like 3 years. But if you've over leveraged your life so hard that you can't take a year or two off just to like grind mode on one thing, that's called over leveraging your life and then putting yourself in a position where you're not going to be able to succeed. And that's why I think another thing about staking so much primarily on one wallet, some of these guys will stake all their stuff on one wallet and then create another like the Genius guy, he used his main staking wallet to create the Genius contract address. And like that was like the biggest red flag move I'd ever seen in my entire history of life. Like he used his actual staking wallet to mint the contract address. What? All you had to do was press new wallet and enter, and then you're not doxxed for the rest of history. Like what? And it was a significant amount at the time. It was 680,000 hex, and I showed it to everyone. I just pulled it up. I was like, this dude's a pleb. Bob told me that, by the way. Bob was the one who kind of like got me that info.
Thank you, Bob. This is adding, right? Sometimes this takes a while. Same thing with mainnet. It takes a while to add. Sometimes it's a couple minutes. This is ETH fair, right? So I think we've had a couple failed transactions, as you guys would see me click through on here. Once this does load, right? Just finished. So now we saw that on the block explorer. So let's go back to pools here. Now this is how it's going to show up, right? So you're going to go to Uniswap. Now you're like, how my money, is it working for me? So what I can do is I can go to pool. This is your position, right? So you have hex ETH 0.3, and you're in the 0.3% pool, right? You're providing liquidity from 1,100 to 1,800. So you click on here. And if you've never purchased an NFT, you just did that, right? That's what this green thing is, your NFT. Don't worry about the dollar value, because for a couple of reasons. First of all, sometimes Uniswap loses connection with its server. First of all, if you're doing that on mainnet, that's the common, people, oh, what's going on with my shit? It doesn't show my money. But we're on ETH fair and ETHw. There's a very high likelihood the prices are incorrect. So you probably won't see dollar values here and here. The thing to look at is I provided liquidity here. As we were just talking about, I didn't provide 50-50. I provided 81% hex, and I provided 19% of my bag in terms of this position as Ethereum. Now check this out. Let's make it a little bit bigger. In the 7 seconds it took me to do this, I've already earned 16 hex, and I've already earned 0.001213. These are the fees. Remember, we talked about this in the AMM, right? We talked about it right here. You're earning fees as people swap from one side to the other side, right? As somebody does this, they swap X into Y. I earn fees. So what you can see by this is I just earned 32. The 32 hex means people are selling hex to purchase ETH. Now, the ETH one here means that people are using ETH to purchase hex. When you go from one side to the other, you're paying in what you're coming in with. So if I come in with ETH and I want to swap that for hex, I pay the fee in ETH. If I have hex and I want to get to ETH, I pay the fee in hex, right? That's what these numbers are right here. And if I wanted to claim these, I could just press this and I could claim these fees. Now, if you want to remove liquidity, you can just press, there's those two buttons there. I could increase liquidity. I'm like, oh, actually, let's add more liquidity to this. Let's add 9 more. I could go through and add more liquidity here if I actually wanted to. If you try to add the maximum amount for hex, it won't work, right? Because it says I need 3 in order to keep this position. You're not going to change the range. It's what you're providing. Remember this, the 1,100 here and the 1,800, we can't change that unless we remove the whole position. So given that it's an 80-20 position, if I try to provide the maximum amount of hex I had in my wallet, it's going to say insufficient funds because I have I have a lot less ETH than I do hex. Now, if you want to remove, you just press remove. If I want to remove, say I want to remove 11%, it's going to take 11% of the pool, and it's going to take 11% of the fees. Actually, I think it's going to take all of the fees. Yes, it's going to take the maximum amount of the fees up to 47. So hopefully this has been helpful for you guys. If you have questions, we're going to be diving into those questions right now.
And I'm just going to add that what you just saw, you can take the same exact steps on Ethereum proof of stake, Ethereum W, or ETF. It's the same steps apply. So if you want to learn how to, this was basically like a quick, breakdown on like how to provide LP on the 3 chains actually.
Thank you, Bullish. Same exact process.
Yeah, same exact process, but there's an advantage because you have free coins waiting there. So, you can make fees, and you just learned if you want to accumulate one coin versus the other, he showed you how to do that. So make sure you deep dive and share this video.
Share it out. So we have Alex in this community, creator of Hedron. He created this, right? So if you go over there. The uniswap.hedron.pro is the front end for V3 Uniswap on ETHw, I think it is. Yeah,
Correct.
ETHw. Thank you. And then the other one is, I'll share that in their chat one more time. The uniswap.etherfair.org is the Uniswap front end for Ethereum Fair. So that's this one over here. Oops, over there. That's that one there. If you care to do this with your free tokens after your RPC settings.
And I think this guy's got a good hold on what a good way to think about this. Fantastic, guys. On ETHw 3 days ago, I bought 200,000 hex for peanuts, bought 1.5 billion Hedron, did the same on ETHf. This is exactly what me and a lot of the guys on this team did, price point dependent because it's been only 3 days out. But yeah, we spent peanuts would be the right word to say, peanuts to have positions in both of these assets. That's the whole critical point here, guys, is that you don't need to spend anything to have the same position as some of the guys that have spent their entire lives putting it into one end. So there is going to be bias there. There is going to be, but some guys don't, they play light. You know what I mean? Some guys play the game, right? You got to stick around for the whole game. You don't want to be locked in for the game, right? You want to be flexible. Well, most people, frankly, will lose the game 9 times out of 10. So I think most of the time staking is like a very, very good thing for the general user.
So I'll answer this question. So you can stake Hex, Hedron, and ICOSA, create HSIs, sell to the contract, and earn ICOSA, or through app.icosa.pro, and there's support for both ETHW and ETHf.
And you can also, I don't know if you said this, I missed the first part, but if you want to stake Hex, you can do Hex. I've also gone through staked Hex, pulled my Hedron, my free Hedron, and then I ended the stake all through the app.icosa.pro front end, which works on ETHw. Remember, this is Alex, because Alex is a freaking beast.
Actually, this is very important before I forget.
Please.
Maximus also has support for both. He was actually the first one to add support. We always forget that. And you have 6 or 5 days to mint your perpetuals. So you got a bunch of free Hex, which if you want, you can mint perpetuals, right? So that's one option. You probably have free Maxi there, right? Which you can mint team and then eventually stake that team. So I'm going to drop those links, but Maximus is another one. And they support both chains.
So what Bullish is saying is, first of all, you get free money on both of these chains. You can take those free coins and you can provide liquidity, right? We just showed you how to do that. Maybe tomorrow we can go into the deep dive for the perpetuals and how to do that. But you can also take these free tokens. You know, the Maximus team, Dipcatcher and Goldkey. They created a front end for ETHw. They created a front end for ETHf. You can take your free tokens to each one of these contracts and mint Desi, Lucky, Base, Team, etc. on either side or both sides with your free tokens. Go through, you can practice this. You can get a new address. You can go through all of this stuff. As you can see, if you look at the pairs on Deck Screener on these things, this community is so far ahead of the rest of the community of crypto. We're bringing you this information so that you can get further ahead when if Pulse launches. You're going to be 17,000 miles ahead of the rest of communities in crypto because you took the time to practice with your free tokens how to provide liquidity, how to get onto the network, how to send your shit over there, how to go through and mint something, right? If you've never done that before, go through Tesla stuff. You can take your free tokens and create an HSI if you've never done that before. You can stake Hex. You can do all of this. You can do this with ICOSA. All this stuff is just free. And think of it as like a test net, but you get real money out of it. That's effectively what it is. Thank you for sharing that. There's a couple of starred questions here, and then there might be some other ones. Hex softball. Do you believe ETHw, ETHf are correlated assets to ETH, which are correlated to BTC? Yes. All these assets are going to be correlated to some degree or another. Like even Hex is now far more correlated with the market than it once was.
Because it has real value to the users and they want to create a reality where they're buying the lower liquidity asset that they can get T-shares off of. But at the same time, there's the same amount of people over there that aren't spending money that are staying over there and not doing anything. So yes, these things do. The humans are the AMM bots in the beginning. You know, they'll do it themselves.
This-
I want to
Go
add
ahead.
something real quick because just awareness for all the new people who are watching and are asking themselves, what is Hex? What is Etron? What is Icosa? What is Maximus? What is like if like we won't get into it deep now here, but it's essentially derivatives and a positive feedback loop that we built in the ecosystem.
Yes, and we've talked about them
No, go ahead.
talked about them on my channel.
Yep.
We've talked about them on this channel. Like, there's plenty of stuff that goes into depth on both of those things. So if you want to learn more, check out on Twitter. Just tweet, "Hey, what is Hex?" and use the hashtag Hexicans, and you'll get tons of helpful people that will be happy to even get on the phone with you and walk you through what Hex is. Hex,
And we'll be covering the PulsePot Binance launch. We'll be covering the Zen token launch. We'll be covering the Pulse chain launch when that comes out, and I'll be covering personally all the Richard Hart content that comes out because I'm very interested, intellectually in what he's going to say and do from this point on. And I think there's a lot of pressure on him, and the pressure comes from himself because he put this pressure on himself. He called himself the dude with the big PP and all the money and all the smarts, and that's okay to be not 100% perfect, but I want to see how he's going to move. That's it. I don't care about the price action. I could give a fuck, dude. Literally, it's fun to buy and stuff, like pennies on the dollar, but at the same time, it's like we're not spending that much money. This is the bear market. We could be down 0.75 hike is, I think, the minimum that's going to occur on this next one, and it's what it's looking like. And I think there's going to be extreme downward volatility on the original Ethereum chain.
which is going to then lead to the other change.
Extreme.
Yep. One of the last questions here, and then we can wrap things up. Hex is a bit curious. What happens to the current LP positions on Uniswap with these forks? Are those present on the new chains? Yes. So not only if you're providing liquidity on V3 mainnet, you're going to also be automatically providing liquidity on the ETHw and ETHf Uniswap. So you can actually go through and pull your liquidity if that's what you choose to do. The same thing, not only are you providing liquidity automatically if you're doing this, remember, this is for somebody who's a little bit more understand what's going on. It's going to be attached to your original address, right? Because you keep your addresses independent of the network you're on. So it's going to be attached to that main address. You'd have to use that main address to go to the front end, go to pools, and extract that if you wanted to move it to a new address. But you're also going to have your stakes on Icosa, right? The same exact stakes you have on mainnet are now going to be on ETHfair. The same ones that are on the mainnet are also going to be on ETHw, right? So you're going to have all of your stakes over there. You're going to have your Maxi over there. All of this, your Hex stakes are all going to be there, period. GRC, do you want to take us out of here?
Yes, don't be fooled that there's going to be no downward price action. There's always dummy poo-poos that have too much money that dump. That's normal. That's how these things level out. We want people with lots of Hex to sell their Hex when it's worth nothing. That is good. I don't care how long its sideways action is. Look at the chart for HexW. What we were buying, what Kareem's buying, what Tangent, everyone, ETHf, we were all buying to the point where we didn't really have to buy anymore. We could just speculate for the most part on what is going to occur next. And you guys can think I'm trying to pump my own bags or whatever, but you're all retarded. So fuck you, because that's not the truth. The truth is I just like to learn this stuff. I like to teach this stuff, and I think nobody knows about this stuff. And I think it's been getting front ran by people that know too much for too long. And I'm ready for there to be forks. I'm ready there to be divide. I'm ready there for be more users, more surface area, more scaling, because I'm a man of the product, right? I'm not going to tell people what to do with their money, but I want the future to look a certain way, and I think we have the tools to do so, and the team members, including Richard Hart, including Vitalik, including the guy from Cosmos, Tron, including all these guys. They're heavy hitters, bro. The Tron dude has 3.3 million subscribers, and he supports this chain. And he's legit. Tron has stable coins. Tron works. Tron has DEXs. Tron has bridges, cross-chain bridges. Imagine having cross-chain bridges that are safe. Imagine when we have cross-chain bridges that are safe on these things, just wait for nuclear. Okay, just wait.
This is what I would love to see with V4. for Uniswap, right? I would love to see Uniswap get not attached to the platform and go above the network, so to speak, so that they have liquidity across different networks, and you can go in there with Ethereum mainnet and you could swap to ETHw on Ethereum on Uniswap v4, and it's all the instead of having money just tied up in bridges that becomes a target, it's like cash sitting on a table. People are going to try to figure out a way to steal that. It's going to be sitting in these pools that are providing liquidity across networks.
This
That's
just
the next
in.
evolution.
This just in. From the ETHf team, there are currently 3 cross-chain bridges in the works, and we will be pushing one of them. So they said they have 3, and they understand the safety concerns, so they're being very, very, like, you know, he says that's one of our biggest concerns right now, because I'm asking them in the Telegram all this stuff, and the devs are the ones answering. I would like the devs for the Pulse Chain Telegram to answer. I would like everyone to start answering people's questions, because they say they want adoption. They say they want all these things. And I'm not the guy saying that I want money. I don't care about the money part. People throw money down my throat all day long and try to get me to sell out because they know that I work hard, and they know that's the premium. The premium is people with motivation that will work hard. It's never been about money. It's never been about anything. It's been about men that are willing to step up and men that are not going to step up, and they're just going to cry, and they're just going to cry. So let's go. Let's get out of here, guys. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're live every single day. Sorry for freaking out and saying all those F-bombs. Sorry if I said anything about Richard that hurt your feelings. And sorry if this isn't working out in the exact way you wanted to, but I'm telling you, there's no liquidity in these assets. They can hardly move down. Nobody sells things for nothing. So understand that Richard taught you and me and everyone why assets move in price quickly versus others. And when dead chains do 50Xs at a minimum, like, dude, like what? And we all got free coins. So
yes. Cool. Let's take
on an end note, if anyone has no idea who Richard is, we're talking about Richard Hart. Go to richardhart.com and you can learn about the
I'll drop his Twitter, because you always should be following Richard's Twitter, because when he's in his zone, he drops bombs about the market, about Bitcoin. And if you like Bitcoin and Ethereum price action, I think there's no one better on the ETH chain than Richard Hart Win. As far as talking about those markets in general, he's waiting for a dump. He's been telling us for fucking 500 days straight that he thinks Bitcoin's going to 11K. I think Ethereum down to 600 is viable in the cards, 400 maybe because of these other chains, maybe even lower. 4,300. What's 95% of 4,300, Sam?
You want 95% of 4,300?
Yeah, 95% dip from 4,300.
215, I think.
Yep. Let's go ahead and say I think $215 Ethereum is fair play. And I don't care what anyone says about it. There's 3 chains right now. I'd rather buy over there every day of the week, because I'll get a 3 or a 4x on that. And there's liquidity already. And it's on Binance already. And it's on centralized exchange already. So, and I was the first one. We were waiting for the fucking dApps to connect. Like, we were sitting there waiting, like, Alex, hey, wake up. Everyone wake up. We want to buy this shit. That's how you get in early on stuff. And you don't have to spend a lot when you are early. That's awesome, guys. Everybody, let's get out of here. DeFi proof. I'll be back on 100% in probably 35 minutes. And I'm going to be covering something. I'm trying to get Alex from Hedron to come on, but he's so busy. I know it. And I know if you're watching this by any chance, Alex, and you could spare me 45 minutes of your day, 30 minutes of your day, that would be awesome. And I would really appreciate that, because your opinion means really a lot to me. And Jack Levin, if you're watching this, I want to do a show with you about these 2 things. I want to know what you think, and no fuddies. And I want to know when your project's launching and what my users need to do to get involved, because fair distribution and decentralized crypto is what I support. I'm not a maxi of anything. I'm a fan of a few guys in the space: Richard Hart, Jack Levin, the guy from Tron, Vitalik, the guy who created Bitcoin. And, you know, that's pretty much it. So everyone, peace out. Everyone, later, haters.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Play me some Maxi and that just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning.